Good morning. Today we're going to talk about dry barrel hydrant operations. Unlike wet barrel hydrants, dry barrels are less common in OCFA's jurisdiction. However, they can be found in several locations, particularly Santa Ana. It's important to remember, when you're using a dry barrel hydrant, each individual discharge is controlled by one valve with one stem and one nut, as opposed to wet barrel hydrants. Each individual discharge has its own valve to supply water. With dry barrel hydrants, this is important to remember on the fire ground as you're sizing up the situation. If you're anticipating a large amount of fire or large volumes of water or additional supply lines being needed, before you charge your hydrant, you need to capture each discharge to make sure you have your adequate flow. To fix our problem with supply lines after our hydrant's charged, we have a couple of methods that we can use in Orange County Fire Authority. We have a 2.5-inch TFT gated Y that we can attach onto an additional discharge, or we can use our standard 2.5-inch shutoff. By using one of these appliances, we've now created an additional discharge and additional means of establishing other supply lines. So, when we're ready to establish our supply line, we're first going to size up our hydrant. I know that I'm dealing with the dry barrel hydrant, indicated by 3 discharges and 1 valve, controlling the water flow to each one. Now that I'm ready to make my supply line, I'm going to grab my 4-inch hose, advancing it over to my hydrant. I know that I'm dealing with I'm going to remove my cap, standing off to the side. Now, if I have a difficult time removing my cap, I need to make sure that my valve is closed completely, and I can use a hydrant wrench or a hydrant spanner to slowly open the cap while bleeding the air. As I open my cap, I'm making sure my threads are intact and I have no obstructions. Standing off to the side of my stem, I'm going to bleed water if time permits or if the situation dictates, flushing my hydrant. I see clear water return with no debris. Checking for a gasket, and I'm making my connection to the hydrant. My supply line's hand tight. In this situation, I'm anticipating a large amount of fire, additional need for water supply, or additional need for supply lines. I'm going to remove my next cap. Threads are intact, I have no obstructions. I'm going to select my appropriate appliance and make the connections, checking for gasket. My connection's hand tight. It's shut. Now I'm ready to charge my supply line. Standing off to the side of my stem, I'm going to open it slowly. It's important to remember that dry barrel hydrants are going to require more turns to open, approximately 20 to 25, as opposed to 10 to 15 turns for a wet barrel hydrant. My hydrant's open all the way. My supply line's charged. Even though there's water in the system and the entire system's pressurized, we use our 2.5-inch TFT gated Y. So now if the situation arises or if we need more water volume, we have additional supply lines available to us. Another thing to note with dry barrel hydrants, we have drain holes that are located at the base. It's important to open your hydrant all the way. By doing so, that seals and shuts off the drain hole so that there's no water erosion that can compromise the integrity of your base. In addition, when you're done with your dry barrel hydrant operation, it's important to close your hydrant all the way so that the drain hole is open and that bleeds the entire system of water.